everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome to my channel. I want to thank you for joining me. I've got some more Duggar news, and it's interesting because this all came to be after I did my video yesterday where I shared an interview that I had with Derick Dillard. I reached out to Derick back in January. In January and at the end of December, Derick began releasing information on Instagram about his relationship with his in-laws. He and Jill posted photos over the holidays of Thanksgiving and Christmas, and fans noted relatively quickly that they were not invited or maybe not at any of the events of the Duggars and were celebrating Christmas and Thanksgiving without the Duggar family. This had a lot of people asking a lot of questions on Instagram, and Derick decided he was going to clear up some of those questions by answering it. And on Instagram, for a matter of weeks, he explained that there was a lot of things going on with the family, and there were reasons why they were not spending time with the family. Additionally, he let people know that Jim Bob Duggar did not allow him and Jill to be at the Duggar home unless he was there. He also went on to say that Jill wanted to quit filming Counting On shortly after information leaked through the press on In Touch Weekly about an incident that happened in Jill's childhood by her brother Josh. It was shortly after this leak in 2015 where In Touch published an article that outlined what happened to Jill and her sisters as children by their brother Josh. In response to that, TLC got rid of 19 Kids and Counting and decided to move forward with a show called Jill and Jessa Counting On. Apparently, Derick said that Jill did not want to film after everything that happened and after she had to go on TV and do an interview with Megyn Kelly. They left in 2017 and their departure was very controversial. Now, Derick has claimed on Instagram and on Twitter that he and Jill made the decision to leave TLC and Counting On in the spring of 2017 before Jill gave birth to their son, Samuel. If you recall, Jill gave birth to their son, Israel, in only a few years before, and it was a birth special as a part of the Counting On show. With Samuel, apparently this was not documented, filmed, or put out by TLC at all, suggesting that they had not filmed nor participated in the show in quite some time. In the fall of 2017, Derick started making waves on Twitter, and he started throwing shade at TLC and indirectly at other people and other shows on the network. Some of those statements were incredibly controversial, and many believed and thought were insensitive, as well as him poking and being rude and mean to a child. Well, in 2017, Derick, a tweet that he made which said, "I pity Jazz for those who take advantage of him in order to promote their agenda, including the parents who allow these kinds of decisions to be made by a child. It's sad that people would use a juvenile this way." He was talking about Jazz Jennings, who currently has a show on TLC titled I Am Jazz, which follows her journey of going through and advocating and being a transgender female. Jazz is one of the first children to come out as transgender, and her parents have been avid advocates and spokespeople for transgender youth. The show followed her journey along with her parents as she went through therapy and even in the past season going through gender reassignment surgeries. However, Derick felt that the network was apparently exploiting Jazz, along with Jazz being exploited by her parents. When someone actually pushed back, Derick said, "I think it's important to have mature discussions. I'm just expressing my concerns as a Christian. The beauty of the world is that everybody is not like me." As more and more people began to tweet Derick, he also responded at one point saying, also, "Has anyone looked into whether a child is capable of making that kind of decision?" And he was referencing Jennings' actual transition or decision to transition. And he says, "You can't vote until you're 18 and our brains aren't fully developed until around 25. Jazz is being taken advantage of as part of a larger agenda. I really have nothing against the kid and I wish him all the best in life. I just hate seeing him used this way." These were the tweets that got a lot of people extremely upset. In fact, people started going after him. TLC ultimately released a statement stating that they had not filmed with Derick for quite some time and had no plans to work with Derick in the future. After all of this came up and happened, Derick said he wasn't fired because he and Jill had quit. And over the course of the last few years, he has maintained that he and Jill decided to leave the show because of the things that were going on behind the scenes. He has also maintained that his issue with Jazz was never about Jazz, but rather the network. In a message I got from Derick later yesterday after I did my stream, he sent me a message on Twitter and he said this: "Another specific misconception is my comments about TLC and Jazz. The media likes to spin stuff however they want, but my issue were more with TLC and the parents than with Jazz. Jazz was a child at the time, and I have issues with people profiting on areas that are still very much being debated. That children are being encouraged to make that kind of permanent decision as Jazz was for the profitability of a network that has a history of making money without much regard for the welfare of children. I'm not the only one who has issues with this, and there are people in the very liberal camps who would agree with that logic." He's talking about TLC having a pattern of not necessarily protecting children. I think there's been enough evidence provided by John Goslin of Kate and John plus 8 or Kate plus 8 about the way that Kate treated her children and how the network interfered in their divorce. There's also the relationship they had with Mama June and what happened with her and the children being exposed to someone that was actually put in jail for doing something to her oldest daughter, Anna. They also featured the Willis clan, whose father is currently in prison for the things that he did to his children. There's just been a very long history of the network putting children and families on TV without properly vetting them and really understanding what's going on behind the scenes. And that's where he has his concern, according to his statement. He went on to say, "Actuarial scientists rely on some pretty heavy research to determine the effect of developing mind on decision making as it determines what appropriate assurance premiums to set in order to compensate for the risks of young drivers. Contrast that with a network that carelessly preys on a young teenager still trying to figure out life. If Jazz regrets any decisions later in life, TLC won't care because they got the juicy story when it happened. Alternatively, Jazz might be fine with this kind of permanent decision, but we won't know until these children are developed enough to make that kind of decision. If a fully developed adult wants to make that decision, so be it. It's a free country, but don't prey on children. TLC for your own profit and PR protection. The network chose a child to highlight because it would be better PR for them because children are innocent and anyone who disagreed with the show could be automatically labeled as bullying a child rather than advocating for the welfare of children. It's honestly a pretty sick business plan if you ask me, that it seems to be this well thought out. TLC should take cues from Ford Pinto business plan, including its fallout, which ended up resulting in a pretty expensive lawsuit for Ford. However, this does seem to be a pattern with TLC, who clearly cares more about ratings, viewership, and money than protecting the most vulnerable in society like children. I hope this helps clarify another misconception regarding my growing advocacy for children." I did reach out to Derick after I received the statement, and I wanted to ask him if he understood that part of the issue here was related to him misgendering Jazz by calling her a him, and also by saying that transgender is a myth. Unfortunately, Derick did not respond in time before I went to tape this video. He also did not say whether or not he has apologized privately to Jazz for those statements. It's clear through his statement to me that his issue was never with Jazz, but rather with the adults in her life and a network that was using a very vulnerable time of her life to profit. I have very neutral feelings about this. I don't support the statements that he made in the past, but I do understand, given the fact of what his wife has gone through with this network and the fact that he feels that she was not supported and was taken advantage of during a time after which she was exposed as a victim of abuse. I also can understand with their history with the Willis clan, Kate and John plus 8's TV show, Mama June's kids, and others, that this is a repeated pattern for TLC. So the question remains, is TLC putting people on TV, glorifying communities, and not properly vetting them without really understanding the consequences to the children involved with these families? This, I don't know. Derick appears to be committed to helping people see that TLC harmed his wife's family, and is harming children. I don't know what Jazz will say. I don't know what any of you will say. That's what he told me. And again, I want to make clear, I do not condone the statements that he made in 2017. Okay, so that's what I have for you on that. I have some other stuff coming up down the pipe related to Derick, and some information for you coming about other news, because I cover way more than the Duggars. So please stay tuned and continue to follow me for more details. Also, before you go, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and also please subscribe if you do. I would appreciate it so much. All right, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.